Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel and to our Thursday's strategic signal column. In the next few minutes, you are going to see exactly how to stop wasting money on security tools that don't actually make you safer, and how to invest instead in the ones hackers truly hate. We are talking real, measurable impact, no buzzwords, no more dashboards, well, maybe one. If you've ever wondered why does my security stack keep growing but my risk doesn't seem to shrink, this video is actually for you. By the end of it, you will know how to follow the money, literally, and see cybersecurity through the same lens hackers do, where the profit is, where the pain is, and how to make attacking you simply not worth it. And hey, quick favor, drop a comment below with one word, budget, people, or data to tell me what limits your team the most right now. I'll use your feedback to tailor the next videos. All right, ready? Let's dig in, because in the next 10 minutes, I'll show you how to cut spend, keep coverage, and finally get proof your security dollars are working. All right, so let's start by calling out the elephant in the SOC, the tool sprawl. You know what I mean. Dozens of dashboards, overlapping alerts, endless renewals, and somehow still gaps everywhere. Here's the truth. Most companies don't have a security problem. They have a security tool problem. Everyone keeps adding products, thinking more tools equal more protection. But what actually happens? You buy 2, 3, sometimes 5 tools that all claim to solve the same issue, and end up with noise instead of clarity. Here's the kicker. Each tool you add brings more costs. Licenses, data ingestion, cloud storage, maintenance, analyst time. That's how you spend silently doubles while your coverage barely moves. It's what I call the sprawl tax. You pay it every quarter even if you don't notice it. At the same time, your analysts are drowning in alerts. False positives everywhere, missed incidents because the real alerts are buried under the noise. It's like having 10 smoke alarms in your house, all beeping and no idea which one's real. Now, here's the scary part. Attackers love this, because while you're busy managing tools, they are managing entry points. They exploit the blind spots your team doesn't even realize exist. Those systems that fell through the cracks because we thought tool X covered that. But don't worry, in a minute I'll show you a way to turn that chaos into clarity and even reclaim budget doing it. Because once you see where your tools overlap, you will spot exactly where to cut and where to double down. So keep watching. The fix isn't about buying anymore, of course, it's about seeing more with what you already own. Okay, let's talk about why attackers do what they do. Because once you understand their money trail, you will instantly see where to spend yours. Here's the deal. Cybercrime is a business. Every move attackers make is about maximizing profit with minimum effort. They follow the same logic any business would. They just operate in the dark. So instead of chasing every possible threat, let's flip the lens and ask, where's the money for them and how do we cut off their revenue streams? Take business email compromise, the back. The quick cash grab, no malware, just stolen credentials, or ransomware, the double extortion play, encrypt first, threaten to leak later, maximum payout, minimal sophistication. Then there's cloud key theft. Attackers love stealing API tokens and secrets. Why? Because it's like having your front door key and your alarm code at once. And don't forget supply chain exploits, the ultimate force multiplier. One weak link, hundreds of victims. Now, here's the gold coin moment. When you align your control with their profit motives, you hit them where it hurts most. Multi-factor authentication, conditional access, and privilege monitoring directly attack the valid account techniques. A well-tuned EDR with lateral movement detection shuts down ransom operators before they monetize. And secret scanning in your cloud repo can stop key theft long before it turns into a data for sale post on Telegram. So, the next time you're prioritizing budget, don't start with vendor categories. Start with the business model of the attacker. If a control makes their payday harder, that's where your next dollar belongs. In the next slide, we'll translate this into a lean, bulletproof control set. The kind of baseline that covers the biggest threats with the smallest stack. Alright, so now that we know how attackers make their money, let's flip it and talk about how you can spend yours smarter. Here's the mindset shift. You don't need 50 tools. You need the right 5 capabilities working together. Think of it like a Formula 1 car. Not every part is flashy, but every piece has a purpose. If one's missing, you spin out. If you add too many, you slow down. So, what does a lean, effective baseline look like? Start with identity. That's your front door. Multi-factor everywhere, conditional access, lockdown, privilege accounts. Because if attackers can't log in, they can't cash out. Simple as that. Next, the endpoint and email, where most attacks start. Get one solid EDR or XDR across every device. Add phishing protection and DMARC on your domain. These are low-cost, high-impact moves. Then comes cloud and data, your modern crown jewels. Here's where most breaches explode in cost. So, use a cloud security posture manager, rotate keys, and apply least privilege. And yes, this part's boring until you realize a single misconfigured bucket can leak your entire customer database. Fourth, you need detection and response, centralized telemetry, well-tuned alerts, and tested playbooks. Because the sooner you spot an intrusion, the cheaper it is to stop. Finally, exposure management, knowing your external surface better than anyone else. Run vulnerability scans, patch on schedule, and track how fast you actually close critical issues. Attackers automate discovery. You should too. And here's the takeaway. This is your minimum viable control set. The 5 pillars every strong security program stands on. It's not about tools, it's about coverage. Get this right and you will already be ahead of 80% of your peers. And speaking of coverage, in the next part I'll show you a simple one-page visual that exposes exactly where your controls overlap, where they fail, and where you can save money immediately. Okay, now this is the part everyone loves because this single page can change how you see your entire security stack. Meet the Overlap Heatmap, your new best friend for cutting costs without cutting coverage. Here's how it works. Imagine a simple table. Every capability on the left, every tool you own across the top. Now, for each cell, you just ask, does this tool fully cover that capability? Partially or not at all. When you're done, you will start seeing patterns, and they're usually shocking. You will find tools that do the exact same thing, yet both are renewing next month. You will see controls where you thought you were covered, but nobody actually owns them. And the best part? You will spot immediate sunset candidates, tools you can safely retire and free up budget this quarter. I've run this exercise with teams who discovered they could remove 3 products, save 6 figures, and still improve their visibility. Why? Because fewer tools mean cleaner data, faster triage, and fewer cracks for attackers to hide in. Here's your challenge. After this video, take your stack, just 5 minutes, and sketch that heat map. You don't need fancy software, just rows and columns. It's the quickest way to see where you're strong, where you're blind, and where you're double paying for the same outcome. Stick around, because next we'll talk about how to make every future purchase pass the no fluff test, the replace not add rule that keeps your stack lean for good. Alright, now that you have spotted where your stack overlaps, let's talk about how to make every future purchase pass the ultimate stress test, the replace not add rule. Here's the situation. Every vendor promises better coverage, AI detection, or seamless integration. But you and I know the truth. Half of those promises fade the moment you deploy. So from now on, every new tool should face 3 gates: the need gate, the compare gate, and the proof gate. Let's start with the need gate. Before you even look at the demo, ask one question. Does this close a real ranked risk, or just sound cool in marketing slides? And if it doesn't replace something or fill a verified gap, it doesn't pass. Simple rule. No tool enters your stack unless it evicts another or clearly plugs a hole your last audit exposed. Then comes the compare gate, the scorecard phase. Here's where you put objectivity back into procurement. Rate each contender on what actually matters: risk reduction, total cost of ownership over 3 years, integration quality, analyst experience, and vendor stability. Weigh them, add them up, let data, not hype, pick the winner. And finally, the proof gate, the POV. This is where the talk ends and the testing begins. You define your success metrics before the trial starts. Detect 8 out of 10 attack techniques, false positive under 10%, triage time down 30%, replaces tool X. If the vendor hits those marks, great, deploy. If not, walk away. No emotion, no sunk cost guilt. This framework keeps your stack lean, measurable, and defensible. It's how mature teams stay sharp without drowning in logos. And in the next part, we'll move from logic to numbers. I'll show you how to prove your decisions in CFO language. ROI, return on investment, TCO, total cost of ownership, and the hidden telemetry cost no one tracks but everyone pays. Alright, time to put some numbers behind your instincts, because let's face it, sooner or later someone from finance is gonna ask, how do we know this tool is worth it? And that's where we stop speaking in acronyms and start speaking in ROI and TCO, the language every CFO understands. Here's the thing, every cybersecurity dollar should either reduce risk or save time. If it doesn't do one of those, it's dead weight. Let's start with ROI, return on investment. In security, ROI isn't about profit, it's about loss avoided. Say last year a single breach cost your company $300K. You add a control that blocks that attack path entirely. That's a $300K risk reduction right there. Now add the hours your team saves by automating manual tasks. That's real money too. So your ROI becomes simple math, like risk reduction, time saved minus annual cost, all divided by the annual cost. If that number is positive, congrats, you've just proven your tool's worth. Now, TCO, total cost of ownership. Here's where a lot of teams underestimate the true price tag, because it's never just the license fee, right? It's the log ingestion, the storage, the extra servers, the people managing it, the training time. When you add it all up, the TCO often tells a very different story than the invoice. Sometimes that cheaper tool ends up being twice as expensive in the long run. And then there's my favorite hidden cost, telemetry waste. You know, those massive SIEM bills that grow every quarter? Half that data is useless noise. Duplicated logs, irrelevant events, redundant feeds. So start tracking your cost per gigabyte of useful telemetry. Trim the fat and you will see your cost drop without losing visibility. That's a double win. Less money burn, cleaner signal to your analysts. Here's your gold coin moment. When you speak to execs using these numbers, ROI, TCO, cost per useful gigabyte, they stop seeing security as a black hole and they start seeing it as a smart investment. And next, we'll take the same mindset and build a dashboard of KPIs, real trackable indicators that prove your tools are not just running, they are performing. Now that we have shown the CFO the numbers, let's bring the story back to what really matters, performance. Because here's the truth, buying tools is easy. Proving they actually work, that's where great security teams set themselves apart. So, how do we measure that? 3 simple words: coverage, efficacy, efficiency. Let's start with coverage, the how much metric. If only 80% of your endpoints have EDR installed, guess where the attackers will land? You want 95% plus MFA on high risk accounts, 98% EDR coverage, and 100% log sources flowing clean into your SIEM. Because if you can't see it, you can't secure it. Then there's efficacy, the how well. It's not enough to detect stuff, it's about detecting it fast. Keep mean time to detect under 24 hours, ideally under 1. Cut mean time to respond below 48 hours. And measure your attack coverage. I meant the MITRE attack coverage. Are you catching the techniques that actually show up in your incidents? When you can say we detect 80% of the techniques that hit our sector, that's credibility. Finally, efficiency. The how smart. If your analysts are drowning in alerts, you are not efficient, you are overwhelmed. Track alerts per analyst per shift, false positive rate, automation close rate, and even cost per incident investigated. These tell you whether your stack is working for your team or against it. And here's the mini gold coin for this slide. Trends matter more than snapshots. You want to see lines moving in the right direction quarter over quarter. Fewer false positives, faster detections, lower cost per incident, that's your proof of progress. So instead of saying we're secure, say this: we increased EDR coverage by 3%, cut triage time by half, and reduced SIEM noise by 20%. That's music to any boardroom. Stick around because next we'll map these KPIs into a 12-month roadmap that turns your security stack from a collection of tools into a living, measurable system that just keeps getting better. All right. This is where all the planning turns into motion. Let's lay out a 12-month roadmap that actually gets you from tool chaos to a lean, efficient, measurable security stack. Think of it as your get fit plan, not for your body, but for your cybersecurity ecosystem. And it's built to show visible results every quarter. Quarter 1, inventory and baseline. Start simple. List every tool, every contract, every overlapping feature. Map each one to the capability it's supposed to cover, and take your first baseline readings. coverage, alert noise, incident times, tool costs. This is your before picture. Don't skip it. It's what makes your progress measurable. Quarter 2, strategy and design. Now that you know what's bloated, define your target shape. Decide which tools stay, which go, and where the real gaps are. Start shortlisting vendors for any missing capabilities, and most importantly, lock in your new rule. No net new tools without replacement. This is where your consolidation plan gets board approval, because it's tied to savings, not spending. Quarter 3, execute phase 1. Time to get your hands dirty now. Deploy the first wave of consolidations. Maybe standardize EDR across all endpoints, or merge log management into a single SIEM. Retire redundant systems. Train your team on the new setup and measure results mid-year. Less alert noise, faster response, great. That's your first win. Quarter 4, execute phase 2 and optimize. Now you tackle identity, network, or cloud, whatever's next in your plan. Fine-tune configurations, automate where you can, and harden what's left. By year-end, you should have fewer tools, lower TCO, and stronger metrics across the board. Close the year by presenting the after picture, how you cut spend, reduce complexity, and improved coverage, all in one move. And here's your gold coin tip: don't rush it. Security transformation is not about speed, it's about momentum. Every quarter you refine, every duplicate tool you retire, every KPI that improves, it compounds. Now, in the next part, we'll talk about how to keep that momentum alive by assigning clear ownership, integrating your tools, and making sure every dollar you spend keeps working for you. All right, now that the roadmap's in motion, let's make sure it doesn't fall apart in the real world, because a perfect plan means nothing if nobody owns it, integrates it, or keeps it running. This is the operate what you own stage, where your stack goes from deployed to delivering. First up is ownership. Every single tool in your environment needs a clear name next to it. Someone who's accountable for its health, its tuning, its integration, and its outcomes. If a tool breaks, that owner knows it. If the KPIs slip, that owner fixes it. No more, I thought someone else handled that. Ownership keeps your controls alive long after the excitement of the deployment fades. Next, integration. A tool on its own is just noise. But once your SIEM, SOAR, and ticketing systems are talking to each other, that's where the magic happens. An alert triggers a playbook. The playbook opens a ticket. Isolation happens automatically, and your analyst just validates. That's speed, that's consistency, that's scale. And the secret sauce is simple: make identity your backbone. Every action, every alert, every event, tie it to who did it. When your tools all speak the same identity language, correlation becomes instant. Now, procurement and smart buying. This is how you make sure the next renewal doesn't ruin your progress. Always negotiate flexibility, contracts that scale up or down, co-terms dates, and clean exit clauses. Ask vendors the hard questions. How do I get my data out? What happens if your cloud goes down? If they don't have a good answer, that's your red flag, because buying security shouldn't mean locking yourself in. And one final gold coin for you: test your backups for your security tools too. Yes, I mean your SIEM, your EDR console, your SOAR playbooks. If those go down during an incident, can you recover them fast? Few teams check that, and it's a silent killer when things go wrong. So, ownership, integration, and smart procurement. That's how you keep your new lean stack strong, sustainable, and secure. Now, before we wrap it up, let's bring it all home. A quick recap, one simple challenge, and a question for you. So, let's wrap this up strong. You've just learned how to follow the money, not the hype, and build a cybersecurity stack that's lean, measurable, and built to last. We started with the truth. More tools don't mean more protection. Then we mapped how attackers profit and flipped it to design defenses that cost them money. We built a baseline of what really matters: identity, endpoints, cloud, detection, exposure, and showed how to see overlap, prove ROI, and track real KPIs. And finally, we turned it all into a one-year action plan that cut waste and strengthens coverage at the same time. Now, here's my challenge to you. Pick one move this week. It could be sketching your overlap heatmap, setting a replace not to add rule, or just checking your EDR coverage percentage. Whichever it is, take the first step and you will instantly see where your next big win lives. And hey, I want to hear from you. Which KPI are you gonna track first? Coverage, efficacy, efficiency? Drop it in the comments below. I'll highlight some of the best takes in follow-up video or following videos. If you found this helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and ring that little bell. It helps the channel and lets me keep dropping practical playbooks like this one. Thanks for watching, stay sharp, and remember, security is not about buying more, it's about seeing smarter. I'm Max, Point Break Security, and I'll see you in the next one.